4. Today I am going to talk through some strategies when tackling reasoning and problem solving questions in maths. Today you'll need a pencil, a piece of paper and maybe a different colour for highlighting some important information in our questions. Do you want to pause the video, go get your bits and bobs now and then come back to talk through some questions? Okay, I'm going to read the question out and just listen out for some important information that you think will help you be able to answer this question correctly. There are 50 cars in a car park. 15 are blue, 1/5 of the 50 cars are red, and the rest are black. How many cars are black? So, first of all, what we need to do, we need to actually work out what we're finding out. And that tends to be at the end of the question, because lengthy questions like this end with the question that they want you to answer. So I'm going to highlight the actual question. How many cars are black? So we're working out the black cars. The question has told us information about 2 other coloured cars, blue and red. So I'm going to circle what information they've told me. So 15 are blue and 1/5 are red. Now, they've been sneaky because even though they've told you there's 1/5 of the cars are red, that's not actually a numerical number. They're telling you 1/5 of 50 equals the red cars, and we have to work that out. When we're working out fractions, you divide by the denominator and times by the numerator. So if I switch this question around to work out how many red cars there are, I would get 50 divided by 5 equals 10 times by 1 equals 10. Now I know there are 15 blue cars, and you can do this on a question. You can say there are 10 red cars to help you out. Now we know the 2 other coloured cars. If we want to know how many blue and red there are altogether, what do you think we are going to do with the number 10 and the number 15? If you said add them together, you are correct. We now know that together, if we put the blue and red cars together, there would be 25 cars. So the rest are black. So we need to find the difference. When we're finding the difference, we can take the larger number, or the total amount of cars, and take away how many we know so far to find out what's left, because that is the rest are black, and that's what we're trying to find out. So 50 take away 25 is 25. So there are 25 black cars. Could you spot the strategies that I used in that question whilst talking through it? Have a little think, pause the video if you need to, but I'm going to talk through them now. So first of all, I worked out what the question was actually asking me. Sometimes we get so flustered with all the information that we kind of guess what we think the question wants us to do. Look at the end of the question, find the question mark, and that'll tell you what it wants you to do. The second point is highlight all the pieces of information that you will need to help you work out the answer. If that piece of information is in a riddle, then we need to work out the numerical value, and then we need to do either our multiplication, division, addition or subtraction to work out the answer. Okay, Blue Peter style. Here is another one I prepared earlier. Depending on how confident you feel about the question we just did, once I've read the question, pause the video and you can have a little go on your own, or I will do it alongside you. I have 25 sweets. My friend and I want to share them out. I have 3 friends. How many sweets are left over? So, my strategy point number 1, find out what they're actually asking me to do. So, how many sweets are left over? So, when we're sharing, We are dividing, and normally dividing questions ask us how many sweets everyone gets, but we have to be really careful because the question is how many are left over. That means there's going to be a remainder, so we already know they're trying to trick us. Then I need to think about my total number of sweets, 25, put that in my head, and I'm going to highlight the important information. My friends and I want to share them out. So there's not just 3 friends on their own, it's 3 friends and me. So really, there's 4 people that want the sweets. Sometimes that's another way they trick us, by saying me and my friend or my friend and I, and we forget to include ourselves in the question. Now, if you know your multiplication really well in your times tables, you'll be able to instantly see that 25 is not divisible by 4. And even if you don't know your times tables, 4 is an even number and 25 is an odd number. That's another little indication that there might be a remainder. Now, depending on how quick you can do mental maths, you can draw your 4 people and share out 25 dots between them if you need to have a visual representation of your dividing, or you can write down what you're working out by doing 25 divided by 4. You could do repeated addition and do your 4 times table, 4, 8, 16, 20, and so on. I think you should be able to use one of those strategies to work out that if we count in 4s, 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24. Now, I can't add any more on, because otherwise I'll go over 25 and I only have 25 sweets. So, it equals 6 with 1 left over, remainder 1. Now, we need to go back to what the question asked us. How many are left over? So the answer isn't 6. It doesn't matter how many sweets each person is going to get. It's how many are left over. So the answer is 1. Okay? So, last question. I made a mistake on this question, but it's okay. We always make mistakes. So, this is a slightly trickier one. Have a little read. If you want to do it on your own, you can do. And then once you've finished, you can make up some questions for maybe different people in your house, or you can challenge your siblings to try and work out problem solving and multiple step processes. Simon is 150 centimetres tall. Greg is half the height of Sally, and Sally is 30 centimetres taller than Simon. How tall is Greg? Now, I've been a little bit cruel here because I've put my sentences in an order that doesn't make sense. And sometimes questions do this, but it's just to confuse you. But you don't need to be confused. I'm going to work backwards, work out what the question's asking me. How tall is Greg? So Greg's really important in this question. I'm going to then go and find the name Greg in the question, because that's who I'm concentrating on. And it says, Greg is half the height of Sally. So if you like drawing, you could put Sally there. Greg is half the height of Sally. And then Sally is 30 centimetres taller than Simon. So Simon's going to be in the middle here somewhere. Oh, let's put Sally and Simon. And we actually know that Simon is 150 centimetres. So if Sally is 30 centimetres taller, if you're going to be taller, are we going to add length or are we going to take it away? Tell someone now? Okay, we're going to add it, aren't we? So Sally in our drawing is taller. So Sally is 150 centimetres, add 30 centimetres. You can use your place value to line up your columns and work out that equals 180 centimetres. So now we know how tall Sally is. Now we need to work out how tall Greg is. Greg is half the height of Sally. So if you remember, if you're halving something, if I draw out half here, divide by the denominator times by the numerator. So we're dividing by 2. If you're halving something, you're splitting them into 2 equal groups. So 180 divided by 2. If that number seems a bit big for you, in your head, you can divide by 10 to make that number smaller, then work out the answer and times it by 10 again. So I know that 18 divided by 2 is 9, put the 0 back on, and I know that Greg is 90 centimetres tall, and I'm going to double check that's what the question is asking me. How tall is Greg? Yeah, so Greg is 90 centimetres. If you did that on your own, did you get the right answer? Okay, now going to see if you can apply those strategies to the White Rose work that you're doing with your videos online.